Hey, it's your girl Shay Shay. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time, and welcome back if you've been here before. Drake is back at it again, posting lyrics on Instagram about breaking records and carrying the game. Specifically, this time he's boasting about surpassing Michael Jackson's #1 hit. And honestly, it's not just corny this time, it's the latest example of a major artist trying to force their legacy down our throats, and people online are not having it. We need to talk about this so-called record breaking, numbers that are through the roof, and all of this mess on streaming. So let's talk about it. Everything in this video is alleged. I'm only spreading the word on the curb and in no way giving my own personal opinion.
Nobody wants to admit this, but here's the real truth behind Drake and Michael Jackson. And if this offends you, sorry, but it's the truth. Drake just passed Michael Jackson as the male solo artist with the most #1 hits in the history of music. But Drake is not Michael Jackson. You might disagree, but you need to hear this, because some of these numbers are gonna surprise you. Let me explain. And if you love music deep dives you're not gonna find anywhere else, make sure you follow right now, because we're gonna reveal a lot in this video. First, let's explain the charts. In 2017, streaming took over, which mattered on the charts, and greatly benefited Drake. Prior to 2017, Drake had 3 #1 hits over 8 years, and 2 of those were Rihanna songs. Since 2017, Drake has 11 #1 hits. But here's the thing, Drake didn't suddenly become a better artist in 2018. The rules of how a song became a hit changed in his favor. By the way, I've got an amazing Drake trivia question coming up for you at the end of this video. I'm gonna guarantee you can't get right, so watch out for that. Before 2013, songs only charted on the Hot 100 if they were official singles. Labels would purposely not release big hits as singles, so you were forced to buy the album. Huge 90s songs like Don't Speak by No Doubt and Iris by Goo Goo Dolls either never hit #1 or never even charted on the Hot 100. The Hot 100 hit in 1996 meant somebody had to physically drive themselves to a store and pay money for that specific song. Hot 100 hit in 2026 means somebody didn't press skip on an autoplay. By the way, if you know somebody who loves Drake or maybe a huge Michael Jackson fan, send them this video right now because I want to hear their take on all of this in the comments. Michael Jackson has 53 Hot 100 hits, but under these new rules, would have had more than double that. Drake has 402 hits, which is amazing, but a heavily skewed number due to Drake releasing music in the streaming era, him being a rapper who also does features, and whose features count towards his entries. Drake isn't just playing a different game than Michael. He's playing 2 games, his music and the artist he collabs with.
Let's be real about the reaction. It isn't just a few haters in comment sections. There is a genuine widespread exhaustion with these constant record-breaking flexes. The prevailing sentiment across music forums and critical circles is that while this math is correct, I mean, he does have more #1s, the audience feels as they're being sold a lie. Because if we're being completely honest, when Michael Jackson was pushing out these #1 hits, you had people in countries that weren't necessarily interested in US pop culture who knew these new songs. You had people in the Amazon rainforest who had not really been in contact with the wider world, with the wider population of the world, who knew who Michael Jackson was and who had seen his performances. He was that famous. And a lot of people do feel like they don't even know what song is #1 right now with Drake. Like, who's heard that song? Tons of people feel we haven't heard that song. We've not seen it being pushed on TikTok. Nobody's making no edits, nothing. And somehow it's #1. Like, who are you playing us for? And then there's Drake popping up saying, I'm bigger than Michael Jackson. I'm carrying the whole industry on my back. And people feel like, pipe down. You're doing a lot. You're doing too much. And for a lot of people, this is corny. Like, can you be humble for 5 minutes? Because 2 years ago, it was crickets from Drake.
If Michael Jackson was alive to see Drake using his iconic glove for the cover of Iceman, especially after the fact that Drake dissed him on a song 2 years ago, do you want to know what Mike would do? He would buy the rights to Drake's entire discography and then start dropping the nastiest covers to Drake's biggest hits. Could you imagine? Jungle, covered by Michael Jackson. Take Care, covered by Michael Jackson. He would eat Drake up on those songs if he recorded them. Oh, Michael Jackson wouldn't do that. He would have loved Drake. Are you kidding me? Michael Jackson is the same one who bought the rights to the Beatles' entire discography, recorded a cover of Come Together, and performed it live. And it was very well received. When Eminem dissed Michael Jackson, Mike bought out Eminem's entire discography, so he would make money every time Eminem dropped an album. You don't think MJ would give Drake that same treatment after dropping that trash album trying to associate himself with Michael Jackson? You're crazy.
Look, let's get real about the math, because this is where the industry is really trying to pull a fast one. When Michael Jackson was setting these records, he was operating in a very different world. A single hit was a cultural event, measured by radio play, physical sales, and genuine organic reach. I mean, think about it. You had to go to the store and spend money to buy a physical record. It was like an archer taking 3 careful, deliberate shots. If those arrows landed, it was genuinely impressive because the precision was undeniable. The music environment now is obviously very different. Artists are album album bombing, which is like when they send in 40, 50 songs. You know that some artists have albums that have 15 different versions where the song has slightly different music in the background just to flood the streaming algorithms. If you fire 300 arrows at a target at the same time, it's not really a feat of skill when one of them hits the bullseye. It's just statistical probability. And when you compare a carefully crafted classic to a chart topper born from a 42-track content dump, it's not even the same sport. One of them seems like, you know what, it's deserved. The other one feels like, what are we even talking about?
Y'all have to stop with these Michael Jackson Drake comparisons. These make no sense. Michael Jackson was selling $10 million worth of albums when the only way to get it was a physical copy. As in, you had to stand in a line and wait. There was a good possibility they wasn't even going to have enough. So then you had to come back another day in order for you to get it. If we randomly just lost the internet and had to go back to physical copies, none of y'all are doing that for Drake. Y'all don't even have the patience to do that. We literally live on a completely different planet from the time when Michael Jackson was at his peak. There's so many different avenues for you to find good music. There was not that many back then. You had the radio, you had MTV, and maybe a handful of other channels. It wasn't the same thing. Drake has never sold 1 million physical copies of an album. Because why do that when streaming exists? You don't have to. In fact, y'all keep forgetting music is literally about you investing your money. And let's keep it a bean. A lot of y'all will say that y'all are Drake fan, but if Drake dropped his album and the price of it was $20, $25, a lot of y'all are skipping all 3 of these albums, bro. I don't know where y'all keep coming from with this. These comparisons make 0 sense. It's like saying streaming is better than physical copy because streaming allows you to, in theory, sell more physical copies, but you won't. Cause nobody does, including Drake, bro. He just sold 13K his first week. Since Spotify launched in 2008, Michael Jackson has sold 15 million copies of Thriller. Physical copies. Please stop making this comparison. It is so silly. Grown man, by the way. Don't believe me? Watch this. 13K and wearing an MJ glove is crazy.
So where does this leave us today? The reality is that the next generation of listeners is already moving on. I mean, like, can we be honest? A lot of people don't really care about record-breaking records anymore. Because the thing is, don't you feel like every single time somebody releases something and it does mildly well on the charts, it's somehow, some way a new record? Most people don't really care. Most people aren't really interested anymore. Most people have this mentality of, I like what I like because I like what I like. And we spoke about the fact prior on this channel. I will link the video at the end of this one where we talked about how the culture isn't really unified like that anymore. There are some very few select artists that do pierce through and that mostly everybody will at least acknowledge, but really we're all kind of in our own niches. So the industry's obsession with the Billboard #1 is becoming less and less relevant to the average listeners, and honestly, a lot of people, that's a good thing. The numbers might say one thing, but the culture is already looking for something real. If you haven't already done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you all in the next video. Shay out.